Hello everyone, we are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
Vince, today's question, kind of a simple question. This probably won't be a super long discussion, but today's question comes from Jason Schwab. And Jason Schwab would like us to talk about Batman Beyond. He wants to know if we think Batman Beyond would work as a live-action film. Now, this is a question that I feel like we've talked about before on maybe one of the multi-topic extravaganzas. I thought maybe this could be one that you branched off on and did a whole show on. I don't know that I will have much more to say than I did last time we talked about this, but let's revisit it and tackle it. This is one of those ideas. Part of the reason I wanted to do it is that this is one of those ideas that has been around forever. People seem really fixated on this notion of seeing a futuristic Terry McGinnis in live action on the big screen, and I have always been baffled by why that's the thing that people tend to go to. You know, if you look this up on a Google image search, there are, and their fan films and stuff, there are so many pictures of people like doctoring, like movie posters, trying to imagine what the live-action Batman Beyond film would be like. Vince, why do you think people are so into this idea?
Well, I'm not sure why. That's a good question.
I want to start there. Why? Why is that? And understand, I love Batman Beyond. I'm a big Terry McGinnis fan, but I don't get that. I don't know why do we need to see that in live action?
I think it's a thing that,
as opposed to other things, you know.
I think that at some point everybody wants to see something in live action, or there's some property. There's at least somebody out there that wants to see it in live action, and it seems like people are obsessed with that. Like, for example, I don't understand why people really want to see a live-action Cowboy Bebop movie. Like, why not? Why not just make another animated feature?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's great in animation. I wouldn't mind seeing an animated Batman Beyond feature. I don't care. It doesn't have to be live action.
Yeah, and I think some things people go, well, I just would really like to see it realized, where you know, the kind of the novelty of, say, like the Flintstones thing, the novelty of let's take a cartoon and see real live action actors tackle that. But it's weird with something like this to me, because we've seen Batman in live action before. It's like, why futuristic? Like why do we want to see a what looked great in animation futuristic world realized in live action? Because it seems to me like so much of it would have to sort of be animated anyway. Like, I would assume that you would have a whole lot of CGI for that film. Why do people want to see that realized? I'm not saying it couldn't be great, but I want to know where I want to know where the almost subculture of people that are really fixated on this idea comes from.
You know what? I
find it absolutely fascinating.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that you don't see a lot of spin-offs that are successful, or that are hugely successful. And
yeah, sure.
And that series went on for what, 3 seasons?
3 seasons,
and
yeah.
it was good. And that's the thing that
and tends to and continues, to permeate. That we've got Batman Beyond in comics now and stuff, and like it hasn't gone away.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes with those spin-off things, they don't necessarily get DVD releases. This one does. This one has a giant box set that's available that people bought. and I think that's what it is that people continue to consume this like it's been... Now, I wonder...
Well, I don't know about that, Vince. I mean, like there are lots of really successful spin-offs of TV shows. I mean, anything that's around for a couple, 3 seasons is probably going to get put on DVD, especially because that's part of the whole big, you know, Bruce Timm DC animated movie thing. Or, I'm not animated movie, animated universe thing. I don't think we should be surprised of that. But, to your point, when that came out, a lot of people were really down on the notion. A lot of people were like, futuristic Batman, that's a terrible idea. Anybody in the Batsuit that's not Bruce Wayne. I think a lot of the reason that people are so still, to this day, interested in Terry McGinnis is because, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinion, it worked. It still felt like Batman. It wasn't Spider-Man, but he's Batman, like I think a lot of people kind of thought it was going to be. And I think, you know, I've reviewed some Batman Beyond, and I think I have kind of made that connection before, where Terry McGinnis sometimes feels a little bit more like a Spider-Man sort of character than he does Batman, but he's got Bruce Wayne there looming over him, and that whole thing is always, it's still there, you know what I mean? And I always thought that was the big thing that made that work, is that, yeah, Terry McGinnis is a cool character, but if you didn't have Bruce Wayne there to ground it, in that universe, I don't know that it would work. I wonder if part of the reason that people want to see this is that people want to see what an 80-year-old Bruce Wayne in live action would be like.
That'd be cool.
I wonder if it's not more about that than it is about let's see a CGI Batman, you know?
You know, I would, if I were going to do this and I wanted to see, or if they made this, what I would want to see is not the exact same thing that we got from the TV show.
Yeah.
I liked the whole I'm in high school thing. That's great, fine, whatever. But if they're going to do this, I'd rather them set it forward a little bit in the future and have him like fresh out of college and ready to fight crime, and now Bruce Wayne's going to tighten down the belt and make him do stuff. And then we can get the rest of that stuff through exposition. I don't want to, and that's the only reason why I would have any hesitation to say that we need to be able to, or would this make a good live action movie? Sure, it'd make a good live action movie. I think it would make an old hat live action movie if we were to do the whole origin thing again.
Let's not go there.
Because I feel like it'd be easy to figure out that this guy is kind of the ward of, that sounds weird to say, is kind of the protege of Batman.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Here's the thing. I think the reason that I've always somewhat resisted this idea, I mean, I don't resist the idea. If it was made, that would be really neat. But I think part of the reason I've always resisted this like fixation on this idea is that I think that it's wishful thinking. I don't see it ever happening.
Yeah.
And so people always talking about it. I'm just sort of like, okay, but it's wishful thinking. I don't see. This is the part of this I think we've talked about before, but I don't really see this idea being made as its own thing. I don't see these, because again, we don't do standalone superhero movies anymore. We franchise out, and I don't really see. Let's start in the future and let's do a future Batman thing that's not connected to anything else. The only way I could ever see this happening, and also the way I would love to see it done, would be if it was a loose spin-off of something that pre-existed. So you do say, again, wishful thinking, this wouldn't happen, but let's say you do the Affleck Batman for a while, and then 10, 20 years down the road, you take Affleck up in 80-year-old makeup and you let him play elderly Bruce Wayne, and then you have, and then you cast somebody as Terry McGinnis, and you do the future of the Superman versus Batman Justice League universe. That'd be cool. You know, I'd love to see that. And you could even do it as, maybe not an Elseworlds thing, but as like the only way I could see it being made, Vince, would be because you never really do future and then this is definitely the way the future is going to be. When you have present day, nobody ever does that. Nobody ever goes, this is definitely what the future is. I think what would probably happen is it would be a time travel movie. It would be we see the future, and then that guy has to go back in time to deal with the characters we know already. I think that's the only way it ever would happen.
Yeah, that's fair. That drives me nuts. You know, you make a terrific point here, and I always say, why can't people accept that two characters can exist in separate realities? What?
I know. I would love to see the standalone Batman Beyond movie. I'm just saying it would never happen.
You know, I was saying to a guy that I know the other day, we were talking about Judge Dredd, and I said Dredd was really good. And then I, in passing, made some comments about it being not connected to the first one. He said, well, it's Judge Dredd. And I said, well, they're both based on the same thing, but they're not in the same reality. And he says, but they're both Judge Dredd, so it is in the same reality. And I said,
what?
You're not right. I was like,
this is somebody that's just not initiated and acclimated to the way continuities work. This is...
Yeah, I mean, I think just to tack it on to what you were saying is that it's this mentality that fuels people doing that say, well, it has to be something like time travel. We couldn't possibly make it its own movie. And that's why I had to bring that in there.
Sorry, because studio heads are scared to death that someone will be confused. I'll let you in on a little secret, studio heads that are watching.
As opposed to studio feet.
People are going to be entertained by what they're going to be entertained by. Even if they're confused, your average audience, I know this is going to sound crass and awful, won't care.
Yeah.
Because they're being entertained. A lot of people, I mean, these are the same people that use the logic of as long as there's enough stuff blowing up on screen, it doesn't matter if the story makes any sense. Well, how could those same people be worried about confusing people? That doesn't make any sense. Just show them something flashy on screen that they want to see, put it in the context of a really good story, and they're not going to care about any of that.
There's
You know
a
what I
reason.
mean? I'm telling you, action movies, you can have your cake and eat it too. You really can. You can make it flashy, you can make it big and bold and crazy, and it can also make sense. And it can stand on its own. It can be its own thing.
There's a reason why a lot of people flocked to the theaters because Dark Knight came out, not just because of Joker, but and there's a reason why Green Lantern didn't do so hot. They're both big, flashy movies.
One of them was entertaining.
One of them was a good movie.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess the bottom line here is that I think it could be made. I think they could make it well. I think they probably have about a dozen options that they could go with for where they should take the movie. But I don't think they're actually going to make it ever. And if they do, they probably won't do it in any way that makes any kind of sense.
But I mean, you know, so yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm gonna say I'd love to see it. The odds of it ever happening seem really unlikely to me. But yeah, you know, it could. I mean, it could be made. It could be great. There are some things that I would really want to see happen in it. To not be too gimmicky. First of all, give it a villain that is a new villain for that world. It could be somebody that was in Batman Beyond, but don't do an elderly Batman villain. Do do
as much as I like Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, I don't want to see the Return of the Joker.
Yeah, don't do that. Well, and I don't want to see the live action version of that. It's good already. I don't need that. Don't adapt that, you know.
The only one I would accept would be Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I would accept that, sure.
And the whole infinite life thing.
Well, and Ra's al Ghul could be cool again if it was a spin-off of another franchise that had already done Ra's al Ghul. That could be cool. But you know, let's do Blight. You know, let's do somebody like that. I would go the kind of corporate espionage direction.
Well, you'd almost have to.
You know, that's what you'd want to do with it.
Because that's kind of one of the big themes throughout the whole TV show, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm fishing for stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's great. Go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that the intro for that show was throwing out words to describe the problems with the world now in the future that Batman has to deal with. Words like apathy and things like that, where you have this corporate-run world where people aren't thinking for themselves and they don't even realize that they're being taken advantage of, and they don't know who the bad guys are. You know, that was kind of the premise of that, and it was doing what good science fiction always does. It was trying to push the future out to based on what we're not just what we're seeing in present day, but also what we were seeing in Batman the Animated Series. Right? You know, you look at the corporate politics stuff that were sometimes done in that show, and you look at like the mob rule stuff and all of that, and then you go to the future and you see where did all of that go, and then you make it personal for Bruce Wayne by making it his company that gets bought out and becomes part of the corruption. I love that. So yeah, you'd want to make it a social commentary movie, you know, about all that stuff. And that's how you make it. That's how you make it interesting, so that it wasn't just a gimmicky. Hey, look, it's the future, and we have a flying Batman. You know, all of that stuff should be secondary.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Studio heads, get on it. Come on, Warner Brothers, make that movie you're not going to make.
So yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. Anyway,
I like that you just wrote that movie. Why not?
I also think I would potentially kill Bruce Wayne off somewhere in the film.
Yeah.
Because I think making it a character piece for Terry McGinnis, where it's like a legacy movie, where he like the torch is being passed, where like maybe he's been Batman for a while. I'm with you. I wouldn't want it to necessarily be an origin thing. It's like the torch is being passed, so that we don't have Bruce Wayne there. So that the audience is like, well, I mean, you want Bruce Wayne there, but like pass it off to Terry McGinnis so that he takes like the best things of Bruce Wayne, and you can like compare those characters, so that it's a piece for him. You wouldn't necessarily have to do it that way, but I mean, I think you could really shock an audience by, midway through the film, in a good way. Midway through the film, we have a funeral for Bruce Wayne. You know, that kind of thing could be really cool if it was a standalone movie. If you did like a trilogy or something, that'd be the kind of thing you'd want to do later.
Yeah.
You know, but if it was just, we're gonna do one, we know we're gonna do one, that could be cool. That could be really interesting.
That would be cool, and I wouldn't kill him off if you were doing young Terry McGinnis, I mean, granted, he'd probably be fairly young,
but older than we saw him in the cartoon show. Yeah,
I wouldn't kill him out right out of the. I wouldn't kill him right out of the gates if Terry McGinnis was right out of the gates. I wouldn't kill him if he was green. But you know, if he weren't green, why not? You know, go at it, because that'd be kind of cool. You're right. Shock and awe, Deans.
Well, and couldn't it be cool if it was like, I mean, I'm just throwing ideas. Well, couldn't it be cool if it was like he doesn't die of old age or something? If he dies because like he tries to be Batman one more time and that was a really bad idea. You know, something like that, like we saw him do in the cartoon show.
Like even if he let it go, he never truly let it go, and like maybe Terry McGinnis is in trouble, or maybe he just thinks he's in trouble,
or maybe Batman still doesn't entirely trust Terry McGinnis to the degree that he wants to think that he does. So there's this mission that's just too big, he thinks, for Terry McGinnis, and Terry really could have handled it, you know. And then Bruce Wayne goes out and gets himself killed. I don't know. I just think take the animated series, which was adult enough, and go farther with it.
What if? Here we go. Marvel's What If Batman Beyond. What if he uses some of those like Batman Knights that he had in Kingdom Come? Like maybe he like decommissioned these things, which I think it was kind of the case, and because they're just not as reliable as having an actual Batman out there. So he's trained Terry McGinnis, but he doesn't 100% trust Terry McGinnis, so he
because he doesn't trust anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimately, yeah.
So he reboots up these Batman bots that he has,
right?
And he sends them out there, and he's controlling them, and somebody is able to while using future technology, track him back to the Batcave,
and we have a big blowout in the Batcave.
And that's where he's killed.
Which is always cool to see. Yeah, and then the villain that did that is the one that Terry's dealing with for the rest of the film. I mean, but there are lots of ways you could make this movie.
Oh, yeah. I'd have him, like, run to a part of the Batcave, right? So he's, like, in the Batcave, and he's... No, I'm just being silly. I could choreograph this thing for you, but I'm not going to. Because I kind of got excited about that idea.
Anyway, well, what do you think? Live action Batman Beyond movie, good idea, bad idea? I'm sure most people would love to see this, especially that are fans of that series. What would you want to see in a Batman Beyond movie? And do you think it's plausible? Do you think this is a thing that would ever get greenlit, despite its enormous popularity? Leave your comments. We would love to read them. And also, if there's something you'd like to see us talk about in a future episode of Geeks Not Nerds, leave that in the comments as well. And we will, for now, bid you adieu. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local comic book store.